What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering, and we have another betrayal. Now, before I get into this, I want to be very clear that I'm 100% over the Epic Store exclusive at this point. I'm over it. I've been thinking about doing just a standalone video about it. I'm over it. Steam has had long enough to strike back. They've done nothing. So either they are just laying over and being fine with it, or they've got some grand plan that I'm not aware of. But either way, I'm over it. Personally, I won't use the Epic Game Store for these reasons. There's always other options in most cases to get the game you like without using Epic Game Store. And if it's the only way I can get a game, I'll live. I have a backlog behind me that is keeping me up at night just thinking about. So life can go on if I don't purchase a game on the Epic Game Store. So, for my viewers, to be clear, look, if you want the game, get the game. All right, enjoy the game where you want. If it were up to me, or when it's up to me and how I spend my money, if I can get the game some way else, for example, like playing Metro Exodus on PC or on PS4 instead of PC because I didn't want to use Epic Game Store or whatever the case may be, that's what I'm going to do. But to give you an update, Outer Wilds has been raising funds, I think, since like 2015, if I remember correctly, and has raised $126,000 on Fig, which is where a lot of these softwares choose to do their crowdfunding. Now, on the 10th of May, they posted this update. Outer Wilds will be released on Xbox and on PC via the Epic Game Store, with additional platforms coming later. Rest assured that we read all of your comments, and our goal is to bring the game to preferred platform as quickly as possible. We will keep you up to date with the latest info here. Throughout the development of the game, we've welcomed helpful partnerships, and with Annapurna Interactive, Xbox, and Epic to support us to keep our small studio running long enough to ship the game at the level of quality that it is today. Each of the partnerships enable us to make the game better and more accessible. All right, so it's essentially, now to be clear, this was a game that was promised to the backers to be released on Steam and have Linux support. And if you can just look at some of the comments. All right. Again, you need to have pledged at least $20 to participate in the discussion. So meaning these are backers. They're not getting, flooded with quote unquote trolls. As somebody who backed the game due to its promised Linux support, I'm disappointed. I hope that we do see the promised Linux version sooner than the 1-year exclusivity deal this seems to indicate. Mobius Digital has betrayed my trust, which I've firmly held from 2015 to today. It blatantly betrayed my trust by complying with a predatory company bent on taking consumers for their money. Very disappointed with Epic exclusivity. I've been looking forward to this game since the public beta demo released 2 years ago. As one of your earliest fans, it stinks that I have to wait even longer to play. This isn't okay. I want you all to know that my experience backing your game is the reason I have never and will never back another one. Estimated deliver Q2 2016 became Q2 2020 for your backers. Good work. You should be proud. Way to hose your original backers who pledged for Steam keys, guys. Hope sucking on Epic's nice juicy teat is worth it. You will never get another penny from me. I mean, these go on. And then if you look at the general comments from backers, of course, they are just as fiery. We need some communication here. Outer Wilds team, I'm sure most of us didn't back the game thinking we could play it on the advertised platform 6 to 12 months after release, as is the case with most Epic exclusives. There's a lot of frustration in the community. We'd love if you could just address the issue, allow for refunds or something. We didn't pledge 4 years ago to promote bad businesses like this game's publisher's actions. I still want to support the game dev team, but nothing about the situation is right. Just got the second email. I mean, you have people who don't know if you're aware of this, but the easiest way to guarantee sales decay as a company is to abandon your core customer base, chasing some other means of a paycheck. You could have had loyal fans singing your praises as free advertising. Now, this is not the first time that a game that has raised funds publicly has turned their back on the backers to become an Epic Store exclusive. That happened with Phoenix Point, where the developer even publicly said, everybody who backed my game could ask for a refund, and we would still be profitable. That was based on the amount of money that the Epic Game Store gave them. Now, the problem I have with this is simple. You raise the money on the back of a promise to backers that have paid for your game 3-4 years ahead of time with the public promise of it being available on Steam. This feels like illegal bait and switch. You're breaking a contract. You promised publicly that the game would be available on Steam, and then you reneged on that and offered an Epic exclusive. Now, they could say, well, it will eventually be available on Steam and probably wiggle out of any lawsuit. But if you're going to do this, you should at least offer refunds like Phoenix Point did, if I remember correctly. And this is just a D move all around. I mean, this game is only viable. This is how I view it. And maybe I'm incorrect, but this is why I think it's particularly awful. The game wouldn't even exist if it weren't for a fan base that at least some percentage of backed this game to get it on Steam. This is also true of how I felt about the backers of Phoenix Point. And then once they took 100% of the risk, okay? Your backers took 100% of the risk, offering you money up front for a promise. You then, once you had a viable product, sold out for a large sum of cash for Epic exclusivity, meaning Epic doesn't have to take any of the risk on these games. They just wait for the suckers, the loyal fans. I mean, forget us, forget backers who you know, took a chance on you and paid your salaries for the past 4 years. Forget us, right? Because Epic Game Store came around once you had a viable product and offered you a pile of cash for exclusivity. This is absolutely ridiculous. It's super smart of Epic because you're going to pick up a game that already has a built-in audience of thousands of people that want the game in the first place. But there is some significant percentage of them that are PC gamers that wanted the game on Steam that were publicly promised the game on Steam. I don't know if it's even still up, but if we look at this actual about, if they've even changed it or not, it was still available. Where is it? People were sending me screenshots that it was still up, that it's going to be available on Steam. Now, maybe they finally changed that, but this is just an absolute brutal betrayal, I think, of the fandom that, you know, I understand that the developers need the money, and this does ensure that the game would be possibly that the game would be better off in the long term and more stable for the developers. But unfortunately, that is not what you promised. You promised your backers that it would be available one way, and then once you had their money, remember, like I said earlier, this game would not exist if it weren't for the 1,000 backers that gave you an average of $100 for your game. It would not exist if not for those 1,000 backers providing you significant amount of money, all right? And now some percentage of them were offered a digital copy on Steam that you've said, now, well, you're going to have to wait another year because we took, I don't know, a couple $1 million from Epic. If I remember right, the number for Phoenix Point was about 2 million, if I remember right. And the ultra kick in the nads too is that this money is almost, I never see it providing extra stuff for the players. Where are extra rewards? If you're going to take $2 million in corporate money, how about giving back to your backers and give them something more? Give them an extra. You could say, hey, we just had a huge influx of cash. Here's something better. Here's some extra bonuses. Or here, you know what? We got $2 million or we got $1 million for this. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to print a full hard copy art book for all 968 people that backed us as a thank you. And also, by the way, if you wanted this on Steam and you want a refund, we totally understand. That's how you should handle this. And even that, in my opinion, even that would be exceedingly scummy because these people stuck their necks out for you and you hose them. It's only a time exclusive, but backers aren't thrilled. It's not surprising to see Epic snapping up exclusives for its game store, but now it's making moves on crowdfunded titles. Mobius Digital has revealed that the space exploration title Outer Wilds, not to be confused with Outer Worlds, they literally wrote that, okay, will be timed exclusive on Epic Game Store with other platforms, quote, coming later. While that wouldn't be much of a shock for a conventional release, many people pledged money to the Outer Wilds campaign in 2015 on the assumption that they'd get through Steam on launch day. Now, They don't know how much longer they'll have to wait to play their game on their preferred platform. Not surprisingly, some backers are upset. The timed exclusive has been linked to bait and switch or even false advertising. Players expected a Steam release and now won't get one until months later at best. Some have said they'll seek refunds, while others are more concerned about the implications of releasing the game through a store that currently lacks features Steam users take for granted. Linux support is in doubt when it's not even an option through Epic's portal, for example. That's just sad. Now, of course, some backers, will be fine with this because they didn't expect it on Steam or they didn't care. Most people are indifferent, and I get that. But when you're a developer and you make a promise, you had better go above and beyond to make things right for the people that took the risk for you 5 years ago to make sure this game was even in a state for Epic to purchase and make an exclusive. If you don't do that, then you look even worse than you already do. Pathetic behavior again. I hope you were entertained at least by this video, and we'll talk to you again real soon.